Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivraj Jakacharya Ustottara Shata Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. Jayam Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Jayam Vishnupad Srila Sachinandana Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Jayam Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhuma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Jaya Shri Rupa Sanata Bhatta Raghunatha Shri Jiva Kapala Bhatta Das Raghunath Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Namacharya Srila Hardas Thakur ki jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan ki jai. Shri Mayapur Dham ki jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai. Yamuna Mai ki jai. Bhakti Dev ki jai. Tulsi Dev ki jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Granath Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. ISKCON Bharma Guru Vrinda ki jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Gaura Pramanande, Haribol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Jaiva Narottamam Devam Saraswatam Vyasam Tato Jayam Hridayat Nasta Presho Treshu Nityam Bhagavati Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. For reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances under the personality of Godhead Narayan, under Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, under Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and under Srila Vyasadeva, the author. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by the rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service under the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Okay, good morning, everybody. Nice to see you all. Nice to see you, Mike and Kristen. Okay. And you too, Vanessa. I saw you earlier this morning. So. Huh?
Here again.
Yeah.
Staying for your class.
All right.
Grateful to be here.
All right, Jai. Very nice. Okay, yes, and I'm glad to see you, Mother Sindhamani and Shanti and Kirtaneshwara Guranga Das and Divi Singha and Guranga Prem. Jai. Should we do a roll call for him? Okay, so today is August 10th, 2025, and we're reading Canto 4, Creation of the Fourth Order. Chapter 29 talks between Narada and King Prachini Bari, and we're doing verse 50. Okay. Harir Deha Pratam Atma Swayam Prakritir Ishvara Tatpara Mulam Sharanam Yata Kshemo Nirnam Iha Harir Deha Pratam Atma Swayam Prakritir Ishvara Tatpara Mulam Sharanam Yata Kshemo Nirnamiha Harir Deha Pratamatma Swayam Prakritir Ishvara Tatpara Mulam Sharanam Yata Kshemo Nirnamiha. Okay, please chant.
Harir Deha Pratamatma
Harir Deha Pratamatma
Swayam Prakritir Ishvara
Swayam Prakritir Ishvara
Paramulam Sharanam
Tatparamam Sharanam
Yatakshemo Ninamiya
Yatakshemo Ninamiha Harideha Pritamatma Swayam Prakritir Ishvara Tatparamulam Sharanam Yatakshemo Ninamiha Harideha Pritamatma Swayam Prakritir Ishvara Tatparamulam Sharanam Yatakshemo Ninamiha Harideha Pritamatma Swayam Prakritir Ishvara Tatparamulam Sharanam Yatakshemo Ninamiha Harideha Pritamatma Swayam Prakritir Ishvara Tatparamulam Sharanam Yatakshemo Ninamiha. All right, word for word. Hari, Shri Hari, Deha Britam, of living entities who have accepted material bodies. Atma, the super soul. Swayam, himself. Prakriti, material nature. Ishvara, the controller. Tat is. Padamulam, feet. Sharanam, shelter. Yata, from which. Shemaha, good fortune. Nirnam, of men. Iha, in this world. Translation by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sri Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the super soul and guide of all living entities who have accepted material bodies within this world. He is the supreme controller of all material activities in the material nature. He is also our best friend, and everyone should take shelter at his lotus feet. In doing so, one's life will be auspicious. Yeah, it's such a pretty verse. Okay, please repeat. Sri Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the super soul and guide of all living entities who have accepted material bodies within this world. He is the supreme controller of all material activities in material nature. He is also our best friend. And everyone should take shelter at his lotus feet. In doing so, one's life will be auspicious. Jai. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita 18:61, it is said, Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Hriday Deshe Rajanatishthati. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna. The living entity is within the body, and the super soul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is also there. He is called Antaryami and Chaita Guru. As Lord Krishna states in Bhagavad Gita 15:15, he is controlling everything. Sarvasya chaham hridi sani vishto matasmitirjyanam ahohanam cha. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. Everything is being directed by the super soul within the body. Therefore, the better part of valor is to take his direction and be happy. To take his directions, one needs to be a devotee, And this is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 10:10. Desham satata yuktanam bhajatam pratikarvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupayanti te. To those who are constantly devoted and worship me, with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Although the Supersoul is in everyone's heart, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Vidadeshi Ranjana Tishtati, he talks only to the pure devotees who constantly engage in his service. In Chaitanya Bhagavat, Antya Lila 3:45, it is said, Dahara se Bali Vidya Mantra Adhyayana, Krishna Pada Padmeye Karaye Stiramana. One who has fixed his mind on the lotus feet of Krishna is to be understood as having the best education and as having studied all the Vedas. There are also other appropriate quotes in Chaitanya Bhagavat. Saise Vidyara Phala Janiha Nishchaya Krishna Pada Padmeyari Chitta Vritti Raya. The perfect result of an education is the fixing of one's mind on the lotus feet of Krishna. Digvijaya Kariba Vidyara Karinahe Ishvari Bajiri Sai Vidya Satyakahe. Conquering the world by means of material education is not desirable. If one engages himself in devotional service, his education is perfected. Pade kene loka Krishna bhakti jani bare, se yari nahila tabi vidya yakikare. The purpose of education is to understand Krishna and his devotional service. If one does not do so, then education is false. Dahare se bali dharma karma sadachara, ishvari se priti janme samata sabara. Being cultured, educated, very active, and religious means developing natural love for Krishna. Everyone has dormant love for Krishna, and by culture and education, that has to be awakened. That is the purpose of this Krishna consciousness movement. Once Lord Chaitanya asked Sri Ramananda Rai what the best part of education was, and Ramananda Rai replied that the best part of education is advancement in Krishna consciousness. Okay. Om Jnana Chamarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksharaman Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Karamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapadakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrachita Sahagana Radhanatam Vitam Tam Sachiva Savadetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Shri Vishakambhajamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagapate Gopesha Gopeka Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Dapta Kanchana Korangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namaste Jivananda Yasyam Charni Prabhupada Vallabhai Snigdha Silanani Gyam Pracham Pramanam Bhaskar Manam Yanaguru Daijita Harini Jukshishi Namaha. Okay. Read the verse again. Harir Deha Britam Atma Swayam Prakrtir Ishvaraha Tatparamulam Sharanam Yataha Kshemo Nirnam Iha. Sri Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the super soul and guide of all living entities who have accepted material bodies within this world. He is the supreme controller of all material activities in material nature. He is also our best friend, and everyone should take shelter at his lotus feet. In doing so, one's life will be auspicious. Jai. And that's what we all want, right? Is to have an auspicious life. At least most people would appreciate that, right? So this verse is reminding us and King Prachini Bari that Krishna is the super soul in all living entities. And he's also the guide and the supreme controller. Srila Prabhupada says many times in so many of his lectures and purports that not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Lord, right? So, I mean, that's pretty amazing. Like, you think, well, what does God have to do with, like, just a blade of grass moving? That doesn't mean anything. But what'd you say?
What does God need with a starship?
What is God doing with a starship? Okay. Okay. So, and it's actually the mercy of Krishna that allows us to remember or forget, right? There was that verse that was quoted. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. So thank you for Krishna, because I forget everything right now. Since I've gotten older, my memory's gotten worse and worse. But really, it is the mercy of Krishna that we're allowed to remember anything. And I know when I first read the Bhagavad Gita, at least in this lifetime, I had this overwhelming feeling that I had read this before. I remembered it. And so I was sitting there arguing with myself, how could you possibly remember this? You have not read this. But that feeling was so overwhelming that I remembered this. It was such a strong feeling. It was like my soul remembered it. And that feeling was so strong, Krishna really gave me the mercy to have that memory come to light. And because of that, that experience was so powerful that I decided to dedicate my life to Krishna, right? Or at least try to. And that really is the mercy of Krishna, that he allowed me to remember, far back in who knows, that I remembered learning the Bhagavad Gita before. It kind of felt like I once got in a horrible accident, and I got a head injury and I had amnesia. And I couldn't really remember anything, but like right on the edges of my memory, I could remember the accident. I could remember getting hit by the truck. And I was in the hospital, and I kept asking my cousin over and over again, what happened? What happened? And she told me, she's like, oh, you got in an accident, you got hit by a truck. And I could sort of remember it. It was just on the edges of my memory, but I just couldn't quite grasp it. And that's pretty much how it felt. The memory was there. So that's how it felt when I read the Bhagavad Gita for the first time. And so many devotees have experiences like this. And so I don't know if any of you have had an experience like that. Have you? Yeah, you have? Do you want to share it? Yeah.
No, it's like a specific experience, but that's little things like, I just remember being really like drawn to the mantra. I remember like hearing it and being like, oh, it's like my ears perked up. It's like, and I remember like, this mantra feels different than all the other ones. And it was like didn't quite understand it at the time. Back on it, kind of like, oh, maybe I can't do it before.
Yeah.
And it just came back, and that was like a attraction to that mantra.
Yeah, I mean that's a really common feeling I've found from talking to other devotees, right? You've had experiences like that. You've told me.
I don't remember feeling like I remember the Bhagavad Gita, but I remember waking up one day and feeling
You just knew
I
it.
knew the Bhagavad Gita. And I had all these verses in my mind. Not like Sanskrit, but the English. Like was very familiar with the verses. And I thought at that time because I used to sleep like the Bhagavad Gita.
It just
I was like
the osmosis.
I thought maybe that was it. But I don't know, but I did have that experience of one day I just seemed to like know it better than, like more than I had read. I seemed to know it.
Yeah.
Every verse. I didn't know every verse by heart, but like I was familiar with every verse very deeply.
Maybe I should start sleeping with it under my pillow too. Yeah. Because although I remembered it as a whole, it's very hard for me to remember specific specific verses. So maybe if I sleep with it under my pillow, that'll help. Yeah, and so did anybody else have an experience like that? Anyone else? No? Okay. All right.
I can show them.
Huh?
You know, that's why you heard the Maha Mantra of the Ganges, sitting on the rock in the Ganges for like a month. In the middle of it, he just heard the Maha Mantra from the Ganges.
Yeah.
He used to chant it all the time, well before he met the devotees of Prabhupada.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. And so all of those are examples of the mercy of Krishna, allowing us to remember something. I've heard so many stories like yours, Mike. I think Ram Gopal, our Pujari, he told me that he was in the downtown area of the city he lived in, and he could hear the cartels, and it seemed like you. He was just kind of like drawn to it, something that, and you can see it too when we do like Harinam at the park, and everybody's walking by, but then sometimes you'll see certain people, they're just like, especially little children, they're just like drawn in, and why is it some of them are drawn in and others are just like they couldn't care less, right? And that's because they have somewhere in there that sound is awakening these memories. Yeah. And so in the first canto, this is a very famous quote, but in the first canto of the Bhagavatam, chapter 2, verse 7 says, by rendering devotional service under the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world. So that reminds me of what you were saying. You just like woke up one day and just, boom, Bhagavad Gita's downloaded into your head. Right?
Wish I woke up one day and had detachment.
Well, we're all works in progress. So yeah, we acquire causeless knowledge and detachment from the world. So what is this knowledge? What is true knowledge? What is true education? Do you guys have an idea? Anybody? Krishna? Okay, yeah.
Krishna defines knowledge in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, text 8 through 12.
Yeah, all those beautiful characteristics. Yeah, and true knowledge is also, I've heard described as being able to discern between what is temporary and what is eternal, what is matter and what is spirit. And true education is education that brings us to Krishna, right? So a lot of us have just gone to the movie and seen the Maha Avatar movie about Lord Nrsimha. Have you guys seen it yet? You guys should go. It's playing till Wednesday, 1:15 and 7:15. So today, tomorrow at Elcon, yeah. So go see it. Today, tomorrow, Wednesday. Today, tomorrow, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Yeah. So please go see it. And it's a story about Lord Nrsimha. It's really great. I'm going to go see it for the second time today, this afternoon. And so this is about Lord Nrsimhadev and Prahlad. And little Prahlad, do you know the story, Kristen? Okay. I'll try to make it really short. But Prahlad was the son of a demon, a great demon, Hiranyakashipu. And this great demon, he had done a lot of austerities to get a boon. He wanted to be immortal. But when finally Lord Brahma was like, okay, I'm pleased you've done so many austerities, let me give you a boon. And he said, well, I can't make you immortal. Even I'm not immortal. I can't. Only Krishna can do that. And so Hiranyakashipu thought, oh, okay. Well, you know what? Make it so I can't be killed in the day, in the night, on the land, or in the sea, in this ground, or on the sky, by any weapon. He's naming all these things, by man or beast. I can't be killed by man or beast. So he figures, okay, now I'm effectively immortal, right? So Lord Brahma gives him these boons. He says, okay, great. And so he has a son, Prahlad, who his son is actually a great devotee of Lord Vishnu. He became a great devotee because he heard while he was in the womb, Narada Muni was preaching to his mother. And so he heard that, and he became enlightened and became a great devotee. And so he's going to school, and this is the point that I'm trying to make here, is Prahlad is going to school, and it's like basically like the demon school, which is very much like our schools nowadays. Really not learning anything about Krishna, just learning about how to improve our economic situation, improve our standard of sense enjoyment, that kind of stuff. And so what ends up happening is Prahlad, being the great devotee that he is, he starts kind of telling all his classmates about Krishna and how great he is. And some of them are really into it. And then their parents find out, and they come back to the teacher and say, what are you teaching our kids, And they say, it's not us, it's Prahlad. And so Hiranyakashipu, Prahlad's father, finds out, and he gets pretty upset. And so he keeps trying to sway his love for Vishnu in various ways, and it's not working. And so ultimately he decides to try to kill Prahlad, and he tries over and over again to kill Prahlad repeatedly in various different ways, has him trampled by elephants, has him burned, has him thrown off a cliff. Did he poison him? Poison him, right?
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah. A snake? Oh, a snake poisoned him, yeah. And then all these different things, but it doesn't work because he's so devoted to Vishnu, he saves him every time. And so his father's pretty mad, and at this point he's really frustrated, and he's like, okay, you know what, I'm just gonna do it myself, And so he's talking with his son. He's like, where is, this God where are you getting this power? Your God is so powerful. And Prahlad says, from the same place that you're getting your power, from the Holy Lord. And he says, well, where is he? If he's everywhere, where is he? In this pillar right here? And sure enough, pillar crumbles away, and out comes the Lord Nrsingadev. And so he's the lion-headed incarnation of Krishna. And he comes out, and he plays with Hiranyakashipu for a little while, and then he ultimately kills him. And so he puts him on his lap, and he tears open in his guts. He actually takes out his innards and puts them on like a garland. And it's pretty gruesome. And still, that boon that he had from Lord Brahma was kept, though, because that's the reason why Krishna took that form, is because he was neither man nor beast. He was able to kill Hiranyakashipu. He was half man, half beast, right? He didn't use any weapons. He used his nails. He didn't kill him in the day or the night. It was dusk. He didn't kill him inside or outside. It was on the threshold. He didn't kill him in the ground or in the air. He was on his lap. And so in all these ways, that boon was kept, but still he was able to protect Prahlad. And so what I wanted to say about that is Prahlad, when he was at school, was the school giving him a true education then? No, right? They weren't, because they were not teaching Prahlad about how to get closer to Krishna. But Prahlad, he was actually giving a true education to his classmates, right? And some of them really took to it. And so Prahlad was giving the true education, but his school, his teachers, and everything, they were not. Okay, so the verse that Srila Prabhupada, one of the verses that he quotes is Bhagavad Gita 10:10. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. So this means Krishna can guide us from within, right? So what are these two verses? The first one I read, which is by rendering devotional service under the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world. And then this verse, to those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. So what do those two verses have in common? You guys know? Anybody? Huh? Love and understanding? Not quite, but anybody else? What those two verses have in common? All right, so those two verses are both talking about devotional service. So, yeah, they're talking about devotional service. The first one says, by rendering devotional service, then you acquire causeless knowledge and detachment. And then the other one says, by those who are constantly devoted to serving me, right? I give the understanding by which they can come to me. So what is devotional service? Now we talk about this all the time. What is devotional service? Who wants to tell me? Come on, Vanessa, what is devotional service?
Using everything you have and engaging it with your senses, the qualities, the qualities in service.
Yeah, very good. Jai. You got it. Yeah, and so I actually searched devotional service means on Vani Quotes. Vani Quotes is like a website that has all kinds of quotes from Srila Prabhupada and his writings and his purports and everything. And you can search from different topics and stuff. It's very useful. So I searched for devotional service means. And so these are all different ways that Srila Prabhupada described devotional service in various purports and lectures and things. So I'm just going to read them. I thought it was interesting. Pure devotional service means service to the Lord without any tinge of material desires, including the desire for fruitive activity and empiric speculation. Devotional service means engaging the spiritual body and the spiritual senses in the service of the Lord. The devotional service means always thinking of Krishna. Devotional service means purifying the senses. Devotional service means engaging everything for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Devotional service means satisfying Krishna. Krishna wants everyone to surrender unto him, and devotional service means preaching this gospel all over the world. The performed devotional service means to follow in the footsteps of Radharani. I like that one. That one's really sweet. Devotional service means that one does not do anything independently of the sanction of the acharyas. This Krishna consciousness or bhakti devotional service means to develop attachment for Krishna and in the same proportion develop detachment for material sense gratification. Devotional service means Krishna consciousness means to train people how to become servant of God. That is all. Pure devotional service means Shravanam Kirtanam. Do you know what Shravanam Kirtanam is, Kristen? How about you, Mike? Yeah, Jack. Hearing and chanting. Yeah. And so those are all different ways that Srila Prabhupada has described devotional service in various lectures and purports, and I just really like that. I think my favorite one was to follow in the footsteps of Radharani. And it's so sweet. Okay, so so that's devotional service. Okay, so but what if I'm not doing devotional service, right? It's like a big question. What if I'm not doing that? How do I get there? How do I become constantly engaged in devotional service? How do I hear Krishna from within, right? Or if I am hearing Krishna from within, how do I know it's Krishna and not just my mind, right? Or not just my ego, right? So all of those have basically the same answer. And that is to find a spiritual master and follow his instructions. So you want to find a spiritual teacher and follow their instructions. And that's the important part. Follow the instructions, right? Because I see so many people, they get a spiritual master, but then they don't follow the instructions. Hello, welcome. And then they're, distraught. Why isn't this isn't working? Well, are you following the instructions? No? Okay. We want to find a spiritual teacher and follow his instructions. So, in the Bhagavad Gita, it says, just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively, and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. And so that's how they're able to show us the way of how to get to the point where we're engaged in devotional service. And when we're constantly engaged in devotional service, they're able to show us the way because they've done it. They've seen it. They've already walked this path. And then, how, if I am hearing Krishna from within, how do I know it's him and not me? Well, how you know is you consult with your spiritual master, with the other devotees, and with the scriptures, right? Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. And if what you're hearing inside aligns with what those other sources are saying, then yeah, that's what you're hearing Krishna. But if it doesn't, maybe take some more time to examine it and see why that disagreement might be there. So, because we can't do this alone, especially in Kali Yuga, we cannot do this alone. I think, there's a lot of people that think, oh, I don't need to be with the devotees. I don't need a spiritual master. I've heard one person say, I don't need a guru, I am a guru. Well, that's not bona fide. That's nonsense, right? Because every guru has a guru. So these things actually purify us so that we can regain our true knowledge. So this following the instructions of our spiritual master, associating with the devotees, doing the beginning of devotional service is Shravanam Kirtanam, right? Chanting and hearing and chanting, right? So by doing these things, we actually purify ourselves so we're able to regain our true knowledge. So what happens if I have a spiritual master and I'm sincerely doing the best I can, I'm doing some service, but I'm still not making progress? Then what happens, right? This is a concern for a lot of people. Huh? Shh, I'm getting there. I know you know where I'm going. Yeah. So what do? This is from the purport of 10:10. A person may have a bona fide spiritual master and may be attached to a spiritual organization, but if he is still not intelligent enough to make progress, that's me, right? Then Krishna from within gives him instructions so that he may ultimately come to him without difficulty. The qualification is that a person always engage himself in Krishna consciousness and with love and devotion render all kinds of services. He should perform some sort of work for Krishna, and that work should be with love. If a devotee is not intelligent enough to make progress on the path of self-realization, but is sincere and devoted to the activities of devotional service, the Lord gives him a chance to make progress and ultimately attain him. So that's very relieving for me, right? Because I know it can be, disheartening sometimes where I feel like, I'm trying, and I feel like I'm not making any progress at all. But Prabhupada is reminding us in this purport, look, just keep doing your service, just keep doing that with love, and ultimately Krishna's not going to just leave you hanging, right? He's going to help you. And so that is a great relief to me anyway, because I'm definitely the one described in this purport. Okay, so why would Krishna do that? Why would Krishna do that? What do you think, Jamuna? Why would Krishna help us. How about you, Vanessa?
This is related to what we're talking about today. After your Bhagavad Gita class, I guess we just don't have the intelligence.
Yeah,
In a sense.
yeah. But there's another reason why Krishna would do that. And that's because Krishna is our best friend, right? Krishna is the best friend of everybody. He's our best friend. So what does best friend mean? So I had two, in my time as an adult, I had two best friends, what I called best friends. One was this, my friend Sarah, and we were friends for like 25 years. And then when I started, reading the Bhagavad Gita and trying to get involved in doing some kind of service for Krishna, she was totally averse to that, and she stopped wanting to be my friend. And so that was really sad. I wanted to share with her, what I had found, and she didn't want to hear any of it, and that's fine. But she still didn't want to spend time with me and be my friend anymore. And so that was the end of our friendship. And then I had a friend, Stephanie. She was another one of my best friends. And one day I had seen that she was making some really bad choices in her life that were going to cause her a lot of distress. And I mentioned to her, hey, I see you're making some bad choices. Maybe, is there something we could do to help you make better choices? And she got very mad at me, and she said, being friends means not calling each other on each other's nonsense. She didn't use the word nonsense. And to me, I was shocked. I thought, well, no, to me, being a friend means that I would call you on your nonsense. That's to me what being a friend means, because I want what's best for you. I don't want to just make you feel good, right? And so are those best friends? I mean, in the true sense, no, right? One dumped me because I was getting involved in Krishna consciousness, and the other one just wanted me to only tell them, good things, even though I saw them destroying their lives, And so, no, those aren't best friends. Not at all. But Krishna is our true best friend because he wants what's best for us. And so you might say, okay, if Krishna wants what's best for us, then why do bad things happen, right? Why do bad things happen to good people? Jamuna, why? Why do bad things happen to good people? Because what? Because what?
Because you would say the other day,
Because what?
because of their government, you said on Thursday that it's because God's mean.
Oh, because God's mean, yeah. That's right. When Kirtaneshwar asked this same question, I said, yeah, because God is mean. But that's not true. Krishna is not mean. I was just joking. Krishna is not mean. He actually is our true best friend. And he wants what's best for us. And so you're right. Yeah, it's our karma. It is our karma. But there's some other reasons too. Sometimes it's to show the glory of the devotee, right? Sometimes bad things will happen. So Krishna can show how glorious this devotee is by overcoming these things. Sometimes, or pretty much all the time, it's for our purification. I mean, that's what karma is, right? We're burning off those karmic debts that we have, right? And then also to help us develop detachment, right? Detachment from things. And also to increase our faith and love and the intensity of our devotion, right? Like, yeah. And then also as part of Krishna's Leela, right? So these stories that Krishna likes to enact with his devotees, those can also be reasons. So here's a few examples. So Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna doesn't tell Arjuna what he wants to hear. He's not like my friend Stephanie, that just wanted me to tell her what she wanted to hear. No, Krishna doesn't do that. He doesn't say, you know what, Arjuna, you're right. You should run away. Don't fight. just go home and relax. Don't worry about this. No, because a true friend is going to tell you what is best for you. And so Krishna said, if you run away, you're going to lose your reputation. And he knew that for a Kshatriya, that's worse than death, right? To lose your reputation. Then another example we have is Sudama. So Sudama was a childhood friend of Krishna. They went to Gurukul together, went to school together. And Sudama, he became, a nice Brahmin. And he was very poor when he grew up. And he had a wife, and they were so poor, like they didn't have enough to eat. He was getting very weak. He was sick all the time because he didn't have enough to meet his bodily needs. And so his wife encouraged him to go visit Krishna. She said, you guys were friends in school. I'm sure, he'll help you. Why don't you go visit Krishna? And Sudama, he looked around. He wanted to bring some kind of offering because it's like, standard. You bring an offering when you go to visit someone. Even like nowadays, or at least 20 years ago, that used to be the standard. If someone invited you to a party, you would come and you would bring, whatever. Usually it was like a bottle of wine or sometimes like some flowers or something, right? When you go to a party. So Sudama was looking around for a suitable offering, and all they had was some chipped rice. And so chipped rice is like the broken pieces of rice. It's, very poor food. And so he had some chipped rice, but that's all he had. And he actually had to go around to the neighbors and try to get this together. So he got together this offering of chipped rice, and he went to see Krishna, and he was very embarrassed by his offering. So he was trying to hide it. He didn't want to give it to him. But Krishna embraced him. He washed his feet. He gave him his sitting place. And he even kind of forced him to give him the chipped rice. And he was eating it, and he was enjoying it so much, right? And that's because Krishna is a true friend, right? That's what you do when you see your best friend, right? You give him a hug, And so Sudama didn't even go and ask for help, even though that's why he went. He didn't even ask him. But Krishna knew. And so by the time Sudama got home, Krishna had given him so many riches. When he got home, his house was like some big, beautiful thing. His wife was all, in nice adornments and everything. And he didn't even ask. Krishna just did that for him, right? Because Krishna is the best friend of everybody. And so Prahlad, like we talked about, every time Prahlad's father tried to kill him, Krishna saved him. And then the last example is Draupadi. And there's so many examples too, but Draupadi, right? She was being disrobed in the assembly. And, they're pulling her sari off, and she's fighting. She's like, trying to maintain her modesty. But she's, much weaker than her assailant. And so finally she just throws up her arms and surrenders to Krishna and says, "Oh, Govinda," and then says these beautiful prayers. And at that time, Krishna just made her sari basically become endless. And so they're pulling this fabric and not getting anywhere. And she was able to maintain her modesty because they eventually had to give up because they were tired because they couldn't do it anymore, right? And that's because Krishna is the best friend of all. And so just remember that Krishna is our best friend. And so even when sometimes things don't seem like to be that, sometimes things like are hard, right? But Krishna is not doing this because he's mean, like I said, not because he's a mean God, no, but because he loves us, right? And he wants us to come back to him. And how we do that is by getting rid of our karma, whether that's by getting rid of all our karmic debts and not making any more, or by devotional service, which gets rid of all our karmic debts. So with that, I'll end here. If there's any comments or questions. Yeah, Vanessa.
It's about like what they teach. I was very good.
about this in the car on the way to Rath Yatra, and like Ezekiel singing songs in the back, and he like learned this one song. Like they teach them songs, right? But like this one song about like hot dogs in a frying pan and like one falling off and like burning his hand. And I was like, yeah, sorry. He just came, like, I didn't even hear that one until like last week, you know, I didn't hear it all summer. And she was like, oh yeah, when her kids went to school, like there was like, they did like presentations, you know, like they have the kids like sing their songs like on the stage or something. One of the songs is just like about all the types of fast food. And she like went to the teachers and was like, I don't want them to sing that. Like, what? So it's just kind of like random that they like promote. It's just almost like promoting all of that
So do you
nonsense.
think that that's a true education?
I mean, you definitely learn like some tempo, yeah, like some melody, right?
Yeah. All right, is there any more comments? Yeah, Mike.
I just had a comment. I just remembered when you were talking about getting mercy
Yeah.
from God. I was just remembering a story from Raghunath. In his book, Punk to Monk, he talks about a story where it was after a concert and he got beat up like within an inch of his life by like neo-Nazis. And the whole time he was chanting Krishna, like Hare Krishna the whole time. And like he just, the way he tells it is really much better than I can, but it's just like real story of him getting a lot of mercy. He like, you know, all of a sudden they like stopped after he chanted and he like survived, but they were like, these people wanted him to kill him. Like they just beat him up after Youth of Today show or something. And he just chanted the whole time. And like, he tells the story a lot, but it's just like a really potent example of like, oh yeah, he was, at the time he was a monk and he was a devotee of Krishna and chanted and he got the mercy because Krishna wanted him to keep going in the service, you know?
Yeah, I think I heard him tell that story before. And then, similarly, one of our priests here, Kirtan Yoga, he was getting, someone was trying to steal his car, he was getting like carjacked, and he started just singing the Nrsimha prayers really loud, and they ran away.
Wow.
So,
I think what happened with it, they thought he was someone else. They were the
Yeah.
guy that had that car also.
Oh,
but then they were like, this guy would never start singing this strange song.
It doesn't need a good story.
All right, is there any more questions, comments? All right, we'll end here. Garaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.